Assalamu alaikum and hi everyone. My name is Monirul. In the very beginning of my presentation, I would like to gratitude to my lecturer, Dr. Azlan bin Mohammed Zain, for his proper guidelines and great support throughout this project. In this project, we were given a task to write a short paper about Malaysian automotive industry. And finally, I have done it successfully. This is my paper title, An Economic Analysis of Malaysian Automotive Industry. So let's get started. Abstract. Malaysian Autocar sales is growing at an average rate of 20% for the past few years. The main objectives of this paper are to apply the multiple regression model of the Malaysian automobile industry and to classify the most vital factors affecting the amount of car sales in Malaysia. Multiple regression analyses have been applied to measure the effects of independent variables on the dependent variable. This paper discusses the development of multivariate regression model to predict the number of car sales in Malaysia. And finally, I have proved that the number of car sales of the Malaysian automotive industry is highly dependent on sales growth, gross domestic product, interest rate, and inflation rate. This study examines the various issues which is directly related to the Malaysian automotive industry. This research covers the time period from 1967 to 2016. Factors that affecting car sales in Malaysia. First one, sales growth, gross domestic product, interest rate, and inflation rate. So what does mean sales growth? Sales growth is the percent growth in the net sales of a business from one fiscal period to another. Gross domestic product or GDP used to measure the economic performance of any country. The interest rate charged or ITR is the early rate charged by a creditor to a borrower in order to get loan. And the inflation rate means the inflation rate is the annual rate of increase of a price index. So here is my dataset variables and sources. To conduct this research paper, I have collected several data from wikipedia.org and worldbank.org, which consist of total 6 variables: car sales, sales growth, GDP, inflation rate, interest rate, and the year from 1967 to 2016. Total number of observation is 50. So here, to analyzing this data, I assume car sales as a dependent variable and the rest of the variables are independent. To visualization of my data set, here the black line graph indicates the car sales in Malaysia, the green line indicates the sales growth, the red line indicates the GDP rate annually in Malaysia, the blue line indicates the inflation rate, and the yellow line indicates the interest rate. In this line graph, here we can clearly show that the car sales in Malaysia gradually increased in 1967 to 2016. And also the other 4 variables, for example, the sales growth in 1995 is around 42.60%. In the following year, the GDP is 9.83% and the interest rate is 4.92% and the inflation rate is 3.45% in the following year. So this is my visualization of the 5 variables. Research methodology. This study analyzed the relationship between different types of independent variables consist of sales growth, domestic product, interest rate and inflation rate of Malaysia and the dependent variable car sales in Malaysia. Firstly, this study discussed the research design. Research design means the planning of how I collected and investigated this data in order to combine significance to the research purpose. Then construct the multiple regression models on the automotive industry in Malaysia. After that, it developed a hypothesis for testing the expected relations between two or more independent variables and one dependent variable on the following part, and finally came out to justify the significances of each variable and prediction equation. By studying about Malaysian automotive industry, I have been constructed a multiple regression model where car sales is dependent variable and other force variables are independent. So the model to be estimated data proposed is as follows: CST equal to beta naught plus beta 1 SGT plus beta 2 GDPT plus beta 3 INRT plus beta 4 IRT plus ET. Here CS means car sales, SG means sales growth, GDP means gross domestic product of Malaysia, INR means inflation rate, IR means interest rate and ET means error term. So here is my summary of research output. So here we can clearly show that the coefficient determination denoted by R square is a key output of regression analysis. Analysis of the regression results of the Malaysian automotive industry reveals that the R square is 0.306. Here the value of R square 0.306 indicates that 30.6% of the variance in Y is predictable from X. And also we have number of observation is 50 and the most important value is significance F, which is 0.002136771. This is definitely lower than 0.05. So our prediction model is going to be most significant. And also we have most important values to prediction our regression model, which is the value of intercept and the other force independent variable, the all values beta naught, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 4. And also we have T statistic and the P value. This one also most important to identify and the relationship between on each variables. So here all independent variables are significant at the 99% significant level. So our prediction equation should be followed as this way. Research finding. The analysis shows that variables like sales growth, gross domestic product, interest rate and the inflation rate of Malaysia was found to be statistically significant at the 99% confidence interval level in explaining the relationship and the number of car sales of the Malaysian automotive industry. It shows that GDP in Malaysia has a steady growth. This makes car sale in Malaysia increase except for few years when economic condition is not good. And the value of R square and F shows that good fitness of the regression model, so it can be concluded that the model applicable to the Malaysian automotive industry. Conclusion. The automotive industry in Malaysia has been a key term of international trade, but it also reduced the unemployment rate in Malaysia. So the development of automotive manufacturing industry in Malaysia also inspired the local entrepreneurs to raise their business day by day, so that the country's GDP will increase dramatically while the car sales will increase.